FP Ag, the name you can trust for all your farm needs. FP Ag Rural Supplies has the knowledge and know-how to help you improve your production with expert agronomy advice for your pastures, hay production and broadacre cropping, fertiliser advice and spreading, animal health strategies, fencing needs, expert viticultural advice, livestock sale options, and they also offer an on-farm delivery service. FP Ag, with 6 fully stocked branches across the Fleurieu. They're in your field.
Happy FM's Halftime Hub, brought to you by FP Ag. We're in your field.
Yes, welcome to the Halftime Hub. Today I'm talking to a former Glenelg player, All-Australian full-back, Keith Kuhlmann. Keith, welcome.
Thanks, Steve.
What a magnificent career you've had in football. It's quite amazing. Please tell me about your earliest memory of football as a kid. I believe you were a Plimpton boy.
Yes, that's right. Went to Plimpton Primary, Plimpton High. I was a squirt, couldn't get a game in primary school. So
Really?
Was 20th man if I could. They used to go down to the 20th and that was it. But I grew and I followed Torrens as a kid.
West Torrens?
Lindsay Head was an idol and So and then I, as I said, didn't play in primary school much, then got to high school and grew a lot, and then I was playing for the high school, and Greg Summerton, a good mate of mine, got me out to Westies in the juniors, and the rest is history.
Is that where things changed for you, playing for Westies as junior?
I think I just grew, and I've always studied the game, so, the skill and everything, not the most creative player, but I made the most of it as I sort of worked my way through the ranks. I was tall for my age, eventually. I was a squirt in primary school, but I was just growing so quickly in those first couple of years of high school, so I was playing upper grade in the juniors.
You were always a fullback?
No, I rucked. Because of my height, I was basically rucking in 17s and 19s.
Yep.
And then, had first year of league football under Bob Keddy at West Adelaide. They decided to blood about 4 youngsters because we were pretty shite, and they said, well, let's give these youngsters, so that I didn't get dropped the whole year, and I should have done, but they decided, so I played everywhere. They played me in the forward pocket, then centre forward, and played everywhere about on Rover, I think. So, and then it was Foss Williams came out the second year, so after Bob went, and then Foss came out one night at training. I don't know whose idea it was. He says, do you want to be fullback for 10 years? And I thought, sounded right, because I wasn't getting the kick, wasn't getting the game really, so and the rest was history.
Foss Williams, tell us about him.
Foss Williams was a very old-fashioned coach, very, get the ball, kick it long. It was, a bit tedious without being too unkind. After 5-6 years of that, I was, I needed a change. I'd been in the club for so long, right through the juniors. People always ask the question, why'd you leave Westies and go to Glenelg? Well, that was it. I needed a rocket and change of environment.
Yeah.
Which,
and so what happened at Glenelg? You were revitalised, is that right?
Yeah, I got super fit. I was just inspired. Westies fairly negative headset in terms of expectations and stuff. It was just totally chalk and cheese. John Halbert was the coach the 3 main years I had there, and it was just the confidence to walk into the room, and you had Carey, Weston, Corns. It was everyone knew, hey, we're good footballers, let's get out there and win the game. So just total different sort of.
So the Bays, tell us about who was the best player you played with in your team in the Bays at the time.
Oh, that's hard. I always rated Paul Weston. People talk about the best players going around SANFL. It's always hard to compare. And they talk about Robin, they talk about Ebert. They were obviously both great players, but Paul Weston for left foot, right foot, could play almost anywhere. Centre half back, could kick goals, could stop goals. His kicking was immaculate on both sides of the body. So he was a gem to have at centre half back.
Yeah. What about guys like Twiggy Caldwell, for example?
It was good sides back in the 80s. Twiggy, Weston I mentioned, Copping, Jimmy LaHoo in the back pocket.
Hodgman.
Hodgie, we didn't cross over totally, but knew Hodgie pretty well. And McGuinness, McDermott and Kernahan all started in 81, I think it was, when we lost the grand final to Port in 81, which was a bit sad, but that was their first year, those 3 youngsters who could play a bit.
Yeah.
went on with fairly good careers.
Yeah. And this book here, which you've brought along today, ton of tigers. Have a look at that. If you can see, it's a massive Bible written by Peter Kuhlmann. Tell us about this. You're part of the past players for Glenelg. What does this book mean to you, mate?
This is just an amazing publication, and I was in education, and so some things historically are written from zero to now. This is just totally interwoven, so that's interesting all the way through. So it picks leadership. It's just an incredible publication. It's got stats on Hall of Famers. It's hard to describe. It's hard to pick up, and yeah, the club's still got copies of it. I'll put I'll put the advert in for Peter. But so it's just such an incredible thing which was done for the centenary year.
Yeah, the history of the club in one great big Bible. If you're a Tiger supporter, why wouldn't you have one of those?
No, it's amazing.
What page are you featuring on, mate? Well, you'd have a few in there.
Well, that's the surprising thing. I was only reading up on Tony Simons the other day. Being chairman of the Glenelg Past Players, we have a debutante and hand someone over. So last week I've done my homework. Young Bo Simons, Tony's nephew, debuted with number 46, which Tony wore when he debuted, and he actually brought the Guernsey to the presentation before the game. So being able to read that sort of stuff, and I got a mention, on a page about state footy and whatever. Totally, I hadn't read that bit. I've been right through the book, but so it's an incredibly well written and interesting read, I reckon.
Tell us about that year you got selected All-Australian, 1980. What was that year like for you?
1980 was amazing. So, obviously I was playing very well as a full-back. Not particularly skilled or creative or anything, but I just stopped full forwards. That was my job. And the carnival that year, I stood. Michael Roach had kicked 100 goals for Richmond. He fortunately wasn't very interested that day, but that's really? Okay. You got to take it.
That's flattering.
He was playing for Tasmania, and anyway, maybe had a few too many beers the night before. And then I stood Kelvin Templeton for the Victorians, who won the Brownlow that year. So managed to sort of keep him quiet, which they picked the team back then. So full back. Gave me a tick.
You got the chocolates.
Yeah, very honoured. Just huge for someone who never thought they'd play a league game. It was a huge honour.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, rumour is there's a bloke at Glenelg Football Club with Keith Kuhlmann on the back of his duffel coat. True story? Still to this day.
True story.
Yep.
I think it was about... Snout's bar was still in that corner, which has been shifted. So it'd be 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
And I just happened to be standing watching the footy there with my daughter, in fact. And anyway, I didn't speak to this guy for a while, but he was standing in front of me with 33, Keith Kuhlmann on the back. Anyway, I waited till 3/4 time, and I said, "Hey mate, would you like me to re-sign it?" So made his day. So I reckon it was about 5 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. How good's that?
Amazing. It's incredible. Duffel coats were great back
well,
then.
for those people who don't know, duffel coat is a great big black coat with the old wooden buttons, and so it's amazing. Yeah, sure. But they're still around.
Yes, they've made a comeback, I believe. They've almost made a comeback, which is incredible.
Yeah, fantastic. So, football, the modern game, how do you see it? I mean, your day, there was positions, full back on full forward, centre. These days, it's midfield, backs and forwards. How do you see the modern game?
Yeah, I still love it because you still need to be skilled. I mean, obviously today players are much more, athletic and all that sort of stuff, but it's still... You've still got to get the ball, use the ball, and kick goals. That hasn't changed. So I still love the game. Yeah. Obviously, there's lots of tweaks with rules and stuff like that. Yeah. Just wanted to mention the SANFL past players have struggled a bit in the last few years, and we're having a huge effort this year. Every SANFL club and the umpires are trying to get everyone September the 5th at Adelaide Oval, fill the McLaughlin room for a huge day of celebrating what was an incredible competition and still is.
So September 5?
September 5.
Past players SANFL?
Yep.
How do people
so
get tickets?
If people ring their SANFL club,
yep, and
they should be able to direct you, or ring SANFL directly. Yep. And it's anyone who's played one SANFL game, or even juniors. We're not...
Fantastic.
Just want to get a crowd there and celebrate footy.
We've got the Past Players Day here at Wollonga. Have you caught up with some guys like Terry?
I've caught out with a few, Terry and quite a couple of others.
Yeah.
Ben Thompson, I think it is, an
Yeah,
ex
Ben
Glenelg
Thompson.
guy
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of guys that I ran into that
fantastic.
used to be here when I worked at the primary school back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I was deputy here for 7 years, so I used to do yard duty out there.
Right. Oh, there you go.
So yeah, so
Familiar
it's
territory.
back to home sort of in lots of ways.
Good stuff. Keith Kuhlmann, thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
This has been the Great Southern Football League live on the radio 90.1, streaming at YouTube at happyfm.org.au. We'll see you soon.
Happy FM's Halftime Hub, brought to you by FP Ag. We're in your field.